everybody, it's OMAD Caroline. If you don't know me, OMAD stands for one meal a day, but I'm not talking about one meal a day today, because today is Friday and it's High Five Friday, and yes, I'm doing High Five Friday from my car. Yeah, if you don't know what High Five Friday is, I was inspired by Jace Jacobs over at the Jar of Poetry channel, and probably, man, it's been months, maybe even a year. He challenged all of his subscribers to send out videos of appreciation to those people that are a positive influence on their life. And I started doing that in my personal life, and then I was like, hey, I want to do this for my YouTube family. I had somebody picked out a couple of weeks ago to do High Five Friday to. I'm going to wait and do it next Friday, because today I decided to do a public High Five Friday to a special someone who has been the biggest influence on my life. And no, they're not a YouTube channel, and no, they're not even a subscriber, because they don't really get on platforms much. So the person I'm talking about is my mom. You guys, I just left breakfast for my mom's birthday. A few of my sisters, a total of 4 of us, got together out of her 7 kids and met for coffee this morning. I didn't have breakfast, had coffee, because today my mom turned 78. You would not guess she was 78. She is always moving and a shaking, and probably one of the most active people in my life. So, and she's really a good friend. So I figured I would talk to you guys a little bit about my mama. So anyways, my mom is, I think what I respect the most about her is she has had quite the difficult life, but yet she is a very positive and happy human being. So my mom, actually, her parents were both Hispanic, and they moved up to Michigan from Texas when she was really little, like a baby, and they actually started their life in Michigan as migrant workers. And then my grandpa finally got with the railroad, and one of the memories my mom had of her childhood is when my grandpa finally got with the railroad and he went to buy his house. They would not sell him the house, the owners, because he was Hispanic. Yeah. So my mom witnessed that. My mom witnessed them not selling her family a house just because they were Hispanic. So anyways, but good news is my grandpa, his boss, the foreman of the railroad, he really was irritated with that, and the man actually went and bought the property and then sold it to my grandpa. So take that, you people who would not sell my grandpa that house. But anyway, so my mom witnessed that, and then for most of her childhood, my grandpa was really very abusive to my grandmother, and my mom lived a very chaotic life. And lucky my grandpa really changed, and life got better between him and my grandma, and the abuse stopped. So that is good. But my mom still had a good positive outlook on life. Like, she didn't judge men, and she just still, even having that childhood, had a positive outlook on life. Well, my mom got married at the age of 17 to my dad, and they had 7 children. So wow, you know, and my mom was always a happy woman, and she was a really good mom. So, but at the age, I think my mom was 35 maybe, but my dad actually was in an accident in our garage. The car fell on him, and my mom lost my dad in her mid-30s. I think she was 35 at the time. So, you know, my mom was left with 7 kids. Now, 3 of the older kids kind of had their own lives and went on, but she was still left with 4 kids and no husband, and trying to figure out how she was going to live life with this man she had been with since she was 17. So my mom, you know, is amazing, but she met a guy, and he was like super abusive. Like, there was times, you guys, that I felt like my mom was going to be killed, and my mom really didn't have anybody to lean on. You know, it was just her and us. And my mom lived through being physically abused by a man for a good almost 5 years, and then she was able to find a way to get us out. And I'm so proud of her, because it had to be really scary. It had to be scary because, you know, she has been with a partner all of her life, so to finally be like, it's time for me to get out. Well, luckily for her, she put trust in my stepdad, and they got together when she left. So that is awesome. And I often call my stepdad my knight in shining armor, because he helped my mom get out of this abusive relationship. So yeah, but my mom, you know, after all of that, she still, you would never guess her life looked like that, you guys. She is just such a positive woman. She has been a wonderful mom to me. All of my life, I always felt like there is nothing I can't do, you know, and my mom always encouraged me, but my mom was also tough. There's not a single one of us kids that would ever talk back to my mom. That's all I'm saying. My mom is sweet, positive, but she's tough. She supports us and encourages us, but she doesn't give handouts, if that makes sense. So she believes in us. She knows we're capable. She embedded that in us, but she was never one to give me a handout. She definitely was not a helicopter mom. That's what I'm saying. So mom kind of pushed you and made you prioritize what's important in life. And I can't thank her enough for that. I remember my senior year in high school, I was actually going to get married. Ted and I started dating when I was 15, and he asked me to marry him my senior year in high school. And we had planned on getting married the September after I graduated. And my senior year of high school, there was this musical. I really liked singing and acting, so I loved doing musical stuff like that. But there was musical in the school, and I tried out for it, and I actually was given the lead role in this musical. But the problem is I was working. Like, I worked through high school. Like, as soon as I got my license, I was working in a retail store, and they offered me a department management job when I was still a senior in high school. When I graduated, they said, when you graduate, we want to give you this management job, because then I could go full 40 hours a week, you know. And I was like on track to get into management, which was going to be great because I'd be full-time, and I was planning on working that and another job to get through college. So anyways, I remember my senior year, I was like, I'm going to try out for this. I tried out, they were going to give me the lead role, and I remember I came to mom and I was like, they said they can give me the lead role, but I have to be at all practices, so that means I will have to cut back on my hours, and I'm afraid that's going to hurt my chances of taking over the department management job. And I remember my mom looked at me and she says, you need to think about what is going to be more impactful for your future. And she said, are you planning on becoming an actress or a singer? Or are you planning on starting a life with Ted? And I remember it was such a hard conversation, because I so wanted to do this musical. You know, I remember being really angry because I felt like all I did was work, and I never really had a childhood. But I tell you what, that conversation with my mom put me on the proper track to where I am at today, you know. And, you know, a lot of people can say, oh, those were the times that you should enjoy. Well, I love the way my mom raised me, because she was like, no, you need to be constantly thinking about your future and what is going to best impact your future. So I don't regret not doing that musical at all, and I am so glad that mom was honest. You know, it was our choice, and she would have supported me if I chose to go that way, but mom was never afraid to not be honest with what we should be doing with our lives. So anyways, this is a high five for you, mom. You are probably the best example of a strong woman, and how you, no matter how often you fall, you can get back up. And also, you're such a good example that hard times don't have to take your joy. You know, hard lives don't have to rob you of happiness and joy. And she's 78 years old today. She is probably the most positive and happy woman I have ever known in my life, and I am so thankful God gave me her as my mother. So happy birthday, Mom, and high five.